Hello, and welcome to the second episode of Spoiler Alert. My name is Giancarlo Sepulveda. I'm here with...
Scott Yunker, and today we have a very special guest. We have Brian. Brian's joining us in the studio tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about Hail Caesar, the latest project from the Coen Brothers. All three of us went and saw it this past Sunday, and we all kind of shared the same opinion on this film. Gian, you want to kick us off on what that opinion was?
Yeah, it was pretty much a bust. We think it was a bust. You want to cue me up there?
Oh yeah, it was a bust.
No, none of us liked it. For various amount of reasons. Brian, what was your top reason?
Well, I don't know if I thought it was necessarily a bust. I thought it was a good movie, but it was a little confused at times in terms of the plot. They had too many elements and they kind of clashed at some point. There's too much. There's just a little too much.
I would say I would say also I'm a big fan of the Coen Brothers, so I'm a little bit reluctant to say it was a total bust, and I don't think it necessarily was. I would say it was bloated. It was just this endless. You know what? Let's reverse before we jump into the movie. I don't think this movie is exactly a blockbuster. So let's give some context. This film. The central conceit of the film is it's a day in the life of Eddie Mannix, a studio fixer for Capitol Pictures during the golden age of Hollywood. So when the studio has a problem, when one of their actors gets out of hand, he steps up to the plate and fixes it. As I said, Mannix is played by Josh Brolin, who is an actor I particularly like. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to open up this discussion with a scene between him and George Clooney, who plays the movie star Baird Whitlock. So let's get a little taste of that.
I mean, we may tell ourselves that we're creating something of artistic value, or there's some sort of spiritual dimension to the picture business, but what it really is this fat cat, Nick Skank, out in New York, running this factory, serving up these lollipops to what they used to call the bread and circuses for the...
Now you listen to me, Buster. Nick Skank in the studio have been good to you and to everyone else who works here. If I ever hear you bad-mouthing Mr. Skank again, it'll be the last thing you say before I have you tossed in jail for colluding in your own abduction.
Eddie, I would never do that.
Shut up! You're gonna go out there and you're gonna finish Hail Caesar.
And
You're gonna give that speech at the feet of the penitent thief and you're gonna
we're
believe
not gonna
every
get this
word
audio.
you say.
YouTube.
You're gonna do it because you're an actor and that's what you do. Just like the director does what he does and the writer and the script girl and the guy who claps the slate. You're gonna do it because the picture has worth. And you have worth if you serve the picture and you're never gonna forget that again.
I won't forget Eddie.
Damn right you won't. Not as long as I run this dump. Bad. Go out there and be a star.
Alrighty, so that is a clip from Hail Caesar, and that's Josh Brolin's character Eddie Mannix berating Clooney's Baird Whitlock. Do you guys think we should play another clip, or
I think we could wait a little bit
hold off? Okay.
to our second half. But I want to retract my statement. Maybe as well. It wasn't exactly a bust. It's just it lacked things, but it had certain parts to it that I did enjoy, like the cinematography, like some of the acting. I really liked some of the choreography. And there was a scene where Scarlett Johansson did her, what was it, water acrobat?
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson plays Deanna Moran, who is a film star, and she's starring in this like aquatic feature. These were actually very popular in the 40s and 50s. There was a specific actress, I forget her name, but like her shtick was she starred in these light aquatic movies where she was this mermaid.
Yeah.
Like she seduced
And that was great.
men and stuff.
That was great. I mean, I know she didn't actually do all that, but it was definitely entertaining and a part of the film that I did enjoy. Even though Scarlett Johansson's character played no actual importance into this film. I mean, at least I don't think so. Right, what do you guys think?
I was gonna say, kind of going off your point, that it's a really fun movie for people who love movies and love movie history, especially that period that they're covering, which is I don't exactly specify what year, but you're to assume it's between the 40s and late 50s, somewhere in there. And so there's a lot of good homages to movies like that. Like you have like the water ballerina type movies. You have the corny cowboy movies, and the way it's shot in the movie is like how it was shot when those movies were coming out, which is a really nice touch by the Coen Brothers. And you expect nothing less from them when it comes to the attention to detail.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's just the little touches that made this movie for me. Like when they shoot the like you said, the aquatic ballerina, the unintentionally campy historical epic.
Yep.
The cheesy cowboy movie, like all of those. Like if you're familiar with those movies from that era, like the Coen Brothers are just spot on in their replication.
For sure.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, like
let's introduce some of the characters
Okay,
that were in this.
and this was
film.
this was like an ensemble cast. Like it was just a parade of famous faces.
It really was. We have Josh Brolin was the main character. George Clooney, Alden. What was his last name? What was that pronunciation?
Ehrenreich? I'm not sure.
And then Ralph. What's this guy's name too?
Ray Fiennes.
Jonah Hill, Scarlett Johansson, Frances McDormand. Tilda
Swinton, who Gian finds to be particularly unnerving.
I do. She's a little scary looking.
But you know what? I'm gonna agree with you a little bit. Like
a little weird looking.
Yeah.
She's a little bit of a ghost.
It doesn't help that she plays two of herself in the movie.
Which
is fun. But
she plays a twin. A twin journalist.
What else has she been in here? I feel like I've seen her in like a similar role where she's the shrill.
I saw her in this great movie. It was called Snow Trencher, I think it was. Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
No, but I've heard about it.
Snowpiercer's good. They're on this train. What was it? Chris Evans.
Yep, Chris Evans. Yep.
Chris Evans.
They're on the nonstop train,
And is it is it post-apocalyptic?
Yeah. Yep.
That was cool. They're on this train just going just nonstop, and the train was separated by different casts, like different what was it?
Yeah, like casts, like social
classes. Yeah, you had your
Mm-hmm.
rich cabin, you had a poor cabin, and
And isn't there something like they were eating babies or something like that?
Yeah, it was part of they're eating some babies and stuff.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a frequent Coen Brothers collaborator. She's been in Burn After Reading. Give me a second. Burn After. I'm drawing a blank here. She's been in more.
She plays these weird parts, but the whole thing with these characters were like, she was a great character in the film, but she wasn't the main character. But she was entertaining. Her, George Clooney, Josh Brolin, and then. Everyone else wasn't really that important. I mean,
I don't even think she was that important.
No,
to be honest.
I mean, they mostly exist to give you a glimpse of the circus that is running a movie studio in Mannix's daily existence. So, like, you have people like her, you have the movie stars that have all these issues that he needs to, like, come between. Like, one famous one, one notable one in the movie is Scarlett Johansson has like a child out of wedlock, and to save face they need to like either make her marry the husband or get rid of the baby and then readopt it, so that way they keep their public image positive and just things like that. They're very funny, but
yeah, and like I agree like, and I personally am fascinated by this era of history, the golden age of Hollywood, and Brian's right, like these characters served I think they're all, to some extent, based on historical characters, like, and they all serve to show, like, exactly the circus, this bizarre world that Josh Brolin's character operates in. But I feel like, and like they're these great, entertaining, like, little scenes. But if you're to view Hail Caesar in the terms of an entire film, it doesn't function very well because they go off on these little tangents to explore these characters, and they never go anywhere. Like, I remember we were commenting the other day when we walked out of the theater how I was gonna say the guy who used to be fat,
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yes.
Who's now fat again.
Who's fat again.
Appears in the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He is fat again.
Yeah.
So he is currently fat, Jonah Hill. Like he's featured prominently in the trailers, in the advertising. He's on the poster, and then he's in the film. I'd say he doesn't break the 5-minute mark.
No, I don't think so. One scene, probably about 3 minutes long.
At least. But you know what? I was just thinking here. I was looking back at the cast of Lady Killers, which is another Coen Brother film, and this is a film where they had all these individual characters, but I think they did like a background on these characters. Have you seen Lady Killers, Brian?
I have not.
No? Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
If I remember right, I think there's a bunch of characters, like Tom Hanks, there's J.K. Simmons, Marlon Wayans, a bunch of people, and they give them all backstories, and they all bring them together into this one story. And then all the characters advance together through the story, which is something they should have done in this film, in Hail Caesar, where all the characters are introduced in it with a backstory, but then grouped together for one purpose, which it didn't happen. Which I wish that's the one thing I wish I would have seen.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think like having too many characters was the problem. Is that the way they divvied up the time with the characters was such that you spent like one or two scenes with one character, and then you go to the next one, and that kind of doesn't lend to building character and building the story in a productive way. Right. You kind of go off in these little worlds, which is fun, but it doesn't make a whole, you know. So
yeah, there's no sense. You know, I think the film tries to build like a sense of urgency. The film constantly shows Brolin checking his watch over and over again. The audience, I don't think you ever feel a sense of urgency.
No, they take their time with the movie, which is ironic. But the time is taken to spend with all these little scenes and all these characters. But the whole plot of the movie is for them to go rescue George Clooney's character, the actor, and that takes them a long time to even get around to that.
It does.
Let alone like him get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even like the kidnapping.
Well, let's explain that a little bit so people that don't know. Do you want to break it down in the beginning?
Well, I loved it. I loved the kidnapper because it was Wayne Knight from Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Newman.
That was pretty funny.
So I was, I know that guy. So he's greasy and he's gross and he's playing like a Lear and he's in this toga in this scene for George Clooney's historical film. And he drugs this goblet, and there's a nice little bit of tension about whether or not George Clooney's going to drink the roofied wine, but he does, and you know he gets all funky and he collapses, and Newman from Seinfeld kidnaps George Clooney and takes him away to his beach bungalow. But there's no sense of urgency. Like when you find out who the kidnappers are, they're not antagonistic towards George Clooney. Yeah. George Clooney doesn't really seem to give a care where he is. Like he's kind of doing his own thing. He's taking everything in stride. Josh Brolin's character is constantly sidetracked by all the other characters of the movie, but there's no sense of like, oh, he's got to get back to finding Clooney.
Right.
Like, he takes his own time, and the movie seems to take its own time.
Yeah.
And
it's I like the part. It turns out that the kidnappers are writers.
Mm-hmm.
They're film writers. The people that don't get acknowledged the way they should, and they're kind of kidnapping Clooney so that they can keep him as a hostage, and get something out of it.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Like, when I saw the trailer and I saw, like, he walks into the room and it's all, like, these, like, ratty-looking guys in suits. And I was like, oh, I bet you they're, like, the screenwriters.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to tie that into, like, the Hollywood 10 or something. Mm-hmm. The Hollywood screenwriters who were charged, and most of them ended up in prison for being communists. I
What's funny in the movie is that they are communists.
Yes.
Yeah.
which is funny, and that's a nod to persecuted writers and people of that time in general who were communists. And it's just ironic that they were also communists. And then George Clooney's character decides that the communism thing's pretty cool, so he signs up himself at one point in the movie, which is pretty amusing.
He goes from being kidnapped to communist, and he's like hanging out with these guys. He's hanging out with his kidnappers, having drinks and eating finger sandwiches.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do you think should we? I think that's a good point to pivot. So we'll get more in depth with some of the ensemble cast. We talked a little about Jonah Hill, Scarlett Johansson, but we're gonna play a clip of Ralph Fiennes' character talking to Hobie, the cowboy, the goofy cowboy actor whose real name, the actor's name, none of us are able to pronounce. But yeah, we're gonna play a little bit of that. So here is that. Oh.
Say your line exactly as I'm about to, just as I'm about to do.
Sure, okay.
Would that it were so simple.
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 My dear boy, why do you say that? Why do you say twere?
Well, you should say it like I said it.
Yes.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple. Would that it were so simple.
Watch my mouth. Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Keep your head still. Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
I'm trying to say that, Mr. Lawrence.
Lawrence,
I thought a minute ago it was Lawrence.
No, we can use Christian names, my good dear boy. Lawrence is fine, just as I call you Hobie.
Okay.
So, would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so
Stand
simple.
down now. Would that it were so simple. Trippingly.
Would that it were so simple. Tripping.
No, don't say trippingly. Say the line trippingly.
Already a little technical difficulty in there. We got some pop music kicked in there.
That was definitely my favorite part of the movie, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think that was that was most entertaining for me out of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the comedy was there, and the joke went on the way it should have, and it ended the way it should have. And
It was one of the stronger scenes in the movie. You get Ralph Fiennes playing the pretentious, eccentric auteur of the time, and he nails it. And the interplay between him and the actor who plays Hobie is really funny, and it works really well. So it's good. I like how the movie touches on pretty much everyone involved in like movie making. From like you get like the extras, the writers, the director, the studio manager. You get a lot of different viewpoints, which is nice. But there might be just a few too many in there to make a cohesive story.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I really liked about this movie was, and I was surprised they didn't really pursue this in terms of the story of the movie, but I feel like a very visual theme was, an emphasis upon the facades, which make up Hollywood, especially then, walking throughout the studio lot, and you've got the half-built fake Greek statue, all around them is 1950s LA, and they're walking out of an ancient Roman Colosseum. When Ralph Fiennes, like, very pretentious costume drama, Merrily We Dance, I think was the name of it.
Right.
Like, there's a great shot in there where you see all the lighter, all the crew members walking above on catwalks above the scene, and like, even the ancient Roman party scene in which George Clooney is drugged. Like there's this emphasis on everything having a sense of not plasticity, but of being fake, of everything,
But that's the great part of it.
And I really like that.
It's just like the reality of the film industry, and
that's illusion.
It is, and I think that's the part that I mean, as filmmakers, we like that part of it. Like it's the bones of your creation, and it's the fact that we put so much into making it look so real, but it's all like these individual little fake parts. You know?
I think that where that falls short is that they give you kind of a taste of that, and it doesn't exactly come to fruition. And you have that, and you have kind of these themes of religion kind of in there a little bit, not fully committed.
It's kind of half-baked.
Yeah, it's almost there, and particularly with the religious theme, the historical themes, because obviously it's called Hail Caesar, and it's centers around the movie that they're making that's also titled Hail Caesar. So there's a little bit of meta action happening in the movie.
Who's your favorite character in this whole movie?
Oh, I mean, you know what? That's a tough one. I mean, I thought they were all great. Josh Brolin's up there, but I have a soft spot for Josh Brolin because he was in The Goonies, which is the best movie of all time. Don't question me about that.
Goonies.
Did you know that movie?
Yeah, I know The Goonies. I wouldn't say best all time.
No, well, you know what? It's mainly nostalgia. But
so you're gonna say Josh Brolin?
Actually, no. I would actually say I think I might have to go. I really like George Clooney's character of just this goofy, guileless movie star who, it's clear, he's hurt a lot of people and his wife. He's a philanderer and, he's cheated on his wife, but, he's totally, has no idea. He's just blissfully unaware of everything. He's kidnapped and
he was somewhat annoying. I found him annoying.
You found him annoying, really. I found him
annoying.
just this guy who's this genial goofus who, he's a communist now. He's just...
That's why I found him annoying, because he was just this guy who's in all these movies, and he's on this high horse, and he walks around, and he thinks everything revolves around him, and he gets kidnapped like it's nothing, and he's just kind of like this. This idiot of a character.
Yeah, well, I think he was an idiot, but I kind of found that charming. He's this idiot savant where for some reason he's this movie star, but he's clueless about everything around him.
For sure.
I agree with Scott on this one. I got to go with George Clooney.
George Clooney too? Oh,
of the
man.
excellently named Bear Whitlock, which is an amazing name. I think he was the most fully formed character in the movie for me. Because, Mannix is the central, Josh Brolin's character, is the main character, but you feel like you understand George Clooney's character far better than you do Josh Brolin's character. Because in the movie, Josh Brolin, there's an underlayer of him having to make a big decision whether to stay the head of the studio or to go to a more lucrative position with a admittedly sketchy atomic bomb producing company of some kind.
I think it's Lockheed.
Lockheed, is the name of it. Yeah, it's also worth mentioning that I don't think we mentioned it that Josh Brolin's character is named after a real person.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, who is also
That's a very good point.
Yeah, who's probably didn't deal with the same things Josh Brolin did in the movie, but the name is taken to add another layer to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I gotta say it's Alden Emmerich, however you say his name. I'm gonna butcher it a million times. Just call him Alden. He plays Hobie Doyle.
Hobie Doyle.
I like that character. I really did.
Yeah, he was good.
Even though he wasn't, he saved George Clooney. He goes and he saves him from...
But did he save George Clooney?
Saved him by, accident.
Well, the thing about Hobie is that he doesn't experience any change in the movie. There's no growth. Where George Clooney... There is kind of some growth. He
becomes
a
communist.
He
call
does,
that
but,
growth.
Right, but he gets somewhere to be brought back down by Mannix in that scene we played earlier.
He smacks
back to what he really is, which is pretty much a studio stooge. Put him in there to play whatever they need him to do, and he'll do it. But before he kind of got a little bit taste of independence and freedom, and I thought that was funny. Hobie, on the other hand, he goes through the whole movie. You think he's going to have his retribution when he encounters Baird, but nothing comes of it.
I think Hobie needs his own movie. I would watch a Hobie movie. A corny, Western spoof. I would totally watch it, because he pulled that off. He was great.
Yeah.
I really think he was. And then how about least favorite character? I say Jonah Hill. Because that made me so mad how he was in there for no more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, I liked where they were going with this character, and I think he did a good job. But
it was a waste of money.
It was just disorienting. You have this pretty major film star, and he's there for 3 minutes, and simply because of the fact of who he is as a real person, it kind of takes you back out of the movie because you're expecting something from him, and nothing comes of it. If that makes sense. I'm thinking this. I think this is a good time for our first break.
All right.
So every week here we have 2 intermissions. Each is a favorite song of Gian and mine. We're gonna start off this week with mine. It's gonna be "Where Are You Going" by the Yetis, great Allentown, Pennsylvania band. So here we go. "Where Are You Going?" The Yetis. I'm gonna get back to talking about movies, specifically Hail Caesar, directed by the Coen Brothers. And I think we're gonna jump into we're gonna quantify this movie with some stars.
Give it some ratings. Bash it a little bit because I want to bash it.
So what's our rating system here?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Okay.
Out of 10.
Are we doing half stars?
Yes, half stars because Brian doesn't like half stars.
I have no problem against half stars. I think half stars are good.
We attacked you last episode. We
impugned
your integrity.
I wouldn't call it an attack.
And my voice wasn't here to defend myself, so now.
Do you want to release a statement?
What was the nature of the attack? Why don't refresh the listeners who didn't listen last time?
It was along the lines of I believe I started. I might have started it.
Scott didn't want to give a half star because he believed that his his editor father Brian does not believe in half stars.
No. I said I like half stars.
You do? All right.
And that I'm used to not using them.
Because
of certain so-and-so at the ramp of the news.
I see.
Let me do shots at Brian.
Well, the star...
Oh, wrong button.
Wow.
Shots.
They're ready.
There we go.
The half star is a design issue that is out of my control. So that is not my fault.
Okay.
But, maybe in the coming weeks we could try to make that happen. We'll see.
Look at
we'll see. I mean, who
compromise.
knows?
Wow.
Do I smell compromise?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think I smell a little compromise in the air.
I have to talk to our creative director about that. Bring that up to the boss.
Okay.
So I'm going to start it off.
Okay.
I'm out of 10. I'm going to give this... I give it a 5.
Wow.
Whoa.
5.
That's harsh. That's
nice, solid 5.
Yikes.
All right, break it down for us.
I give it a 5 because I didn't like their character development. Number 1, I like the characters, but not the character development. I like what I did like was the cinematography. I liked
Roger Deakins. In case anyone's wondering.
Shout out. I liked how they played in religion. Religion was a big part of it. Josh Brolin played. He would go to church like every day, and
to the dismay of his priest, who was tired of his petty complaints. And you think about it, we open the movie with a statue of Jesus Christ on the cross, and we end the movie with a pan up towards a water tower, and the water tower, what does it say?
Behold.
It says behold on it, and that's a very, I think, a religious epiphany type moment. So if you think about those opening and closing shots together, there's definitely something there.
There's just so much going on in this movie. Like, it's, like, I know personally, eventually I'm going to rewatch this movie, but definitely, like, on first look, it wasn't really. I wasn't really doing it for me.
No, I've been bashing it for the last couple of days since we've seen it because that's what I love to do. I love to be a critic, but it's kind of like food. Like, it's something you eat once and you're like not so exactly pleased with it, but then you go back another time and you try it again and you're like, alright, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's not that bad. And that's how I felt about this movie. It just didn't sit with me right. And I mean, I guess also it's a matter of opinion, but me personally, it just wasn't for me. Wasn't for me.
I give this one a 6.5, and the only reason why it's that low is because it's the Coen Brothers movie, and I was disappointed.
Yes, we expect good things from the Brothers Coen.
Of course.
But what fills that 6.5 is the cinematography, the nod to old school cinema, the way they did that, and how nicely it's done. The execution of individual scenes I thought was just really, really good. But why it's knocked down a little bit is because it's a Coen's brother movie and I expect a little more. And also because as a whole film it doesn't exactly work for me, and I think that's obviously a big problem.
I'm pretty much gonna say exactly what Brian said. it's like 6.5. Like it's 7 maybe. Again, gets that low count because it's the Coen Brothers. You know, they can do better.
Absolutely.
And also, like, so many pieces are there that just don't quite fit together. Again, the cinematography, it's just a gorgeous movie to look at. Like, just put it on silent and just, like, look at it. It's got some gorgeous,
It was very pleasing
set
to the eye.
design, the cinematography itself. As we said, Roger Deakins.
The costumes. That's a
Yes,
point that I brought
that's
up the other day.
Yeah.
That I forgot to talk about right now. The costumes are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
From the hair to Josh Brolin's suit to the suitcase that he puts this $100,000 in for
It's
for
like,
George
it's
Clooney's.
like I don't want to say
ransom.
alligator skin, but like
Oh,
that type of like.
It was beautiful. Everything, even the phones. There was anything you could think of. It matched the time, and that's where they really. That's where they hit it out of the park.
This movie loses it really in the story. That's where it loses.
Exactly. And that's your, you know, you can make anything look good, but it doesn't have a good story. It's kind of like a little bit of a waste of time. How about you, Scott? Give it a star rating.
You know, I'm gonna preface this by saying I am a sucker for good visuals. Like, there's many a movie where the story is very lacking, but I still love the hell out of it because gorgeous visual design and photography. So I think I'm gonna give this a 7.
Okay.
A generous 7. So Gian,
7. Wow, I don't know about all that.
using the 5-star system, which I'm used to, it's gonna
That's what we use.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow you'll find out it's a 3-star. Brian.
3-star.
Out of 5 in your article.
So,
Right.
Gian, you had
Well,
mentioned
generous.
phones earlier.
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this?
No.
This is a segue.
It's a good.
Oh, it
segue.
is a good segue. Look at you,
Yeah.
Scott. All right, we're going to take a caller. If you would like to call in and have an input on any Coen Brother film or something of that sort, you can call in at 201-825-1234. That is 201-825-1234. We're going to take one call tonight. One call. Anybody there?
Alrighty. No, nobody's called
There's
in
no
just
one
yet.
there.
We're waiting for you guys.
But we're gonna banner around a little bit before the switchboard lights up. Let's talk about last Coen Brother movies we've seen, starting with Brian.
The last I've seen.
Or if you can't remember, like, the best you've seen, your favorite, something like that. Oh wait, we have got a call
caller.
now.
Oh, man, you don't play a guessing game on who it's from?
Now, but before I pick this up, I've only done this a couple times before, so if I drop you, I apologize.
Let's see who it is.
Okay. Hello, caller. You are on the air.
It's my aunt.
Oh.
That's what I knew. All right. How are you? Good, good. What's your input on a Coen Brother film? Okay, good ones.
Okay.
Yeah, not this one. Not Hail Caesar. No blood. Okay, from the sound of it, 3. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you like Fargo and No Country for Old Men. Those are both very good movies, and
Very different movies.
Yes, and you're a fan of the blood and the guts. You like the gore factor.
Okay, so yeah, that's something that's definitely lacked because it just wasn't. It could have gone there.
I actually thought, I was like, somebody's gonna get shot in the face or something, because so many Coen Brothers movies involve somebody getting capped.
Yeah, you know what? A shot in the face would have actually done some good for this story. I probably would have given it like a 5.5.
No, I don't know about that. I think they recognize that a lot of their comedy draws from violence, so they tried to move away from that.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a tangent here. Have you guys seen Burn After Reading?
I have not.
Yes.
That movie that has an incredible scene involving a shot to the face and Brad Pitt
All right. Well, thank you for calling in. Sorry, we kind of left you there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Alrighty.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Our first call, we just left them there hanging out.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. Now, what was her name? I don't think
It's my Aunt Jeanette.
Aunt Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Thank you for
Where-
calling in.
She's calling in from the Bronx.
Okay,
Aunt Jeanette
okay.
from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know, Gian was telling me our last episode we had listeners in Puerto Rico.
There were listeners
that right?
all the way out in Puerto Rico. Yeah, I have family members out there.
Was it an accident?
No, it wasn't. I don't
On
think so.
purpose.
No, from
Okay.
Facebook. I was doing a live
Good.
stream. There was family out in Puerto Rico. I had family out in Florida. Family from the city.
Wow.
From all over. So look at that. Our first show went that far.
Very cool.
It's not bad, right?
It's
Yeah.
interesting that she mentions Fargo, because I guess that's the most closely related of the two she talked about, because
Mhm.
it's another comedy, way darker than Hail Caesar,
Yeah.
way bloodier, as we touched on. And I think, to answer your question you asked me before, that is probably my favorite Coen Brothers movie, right ahead of No Country for Old Men, and then followed by The Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the golden trio.
Yeah, they're all very great films.
You got to see Lady Killers. 'Cause I feel like if you see
No.
Lady Killers, it might fall in there.
I
don't
think
know,
it's on Netflix, right?
It is. It just came on Netflix actually recently.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's brand new. But the characters in that, you'd like that. Tom
Yeah.
Hanks, J.K. Simmons,
J.K.
Marlon
Simmons,
Wayans.
Mm.
It's a nice little cast there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. So.
So, well, I can talk about my favorite Coen Brother movie. Or should we put out the number for another call? Or
Yeah, let's
should
do
we
it.
hold
Yeah,
on?
I could do another call. Why not? We've never done that before. Go ahead,
Okay,
Scott.
so again, the number is 201-825-1234. 201-825-1234.
You could throw out a question or comment. Questions are
Yeah,
accepted, right?
right?
Yeah.
Throw out a question
Mhm.
or comment about a Coen Brother film
Or Hail Caesar.
or
just
Hail
the-
Caesar
Yeah.
or any of those characters, Josh
Any of 'em.
Brolin or George Clooney.
I'd be very curious to know like how well this movie is doing in the box office.
Oh, not well at all. This
No?
is actually, I was reading it earlier, the Coen Brothers' worst box office movie. Yeah, it bombed. I think they only made like in the weekend like something like 11 million or something.
What? I think what was the budget? I think it was like 22.
I don't know.
I think
Well,
I
it,
searched
it
22.
wasn't a budgetary thing. I think.
Uh-huh.
I think we have a caller.
We do have a caller. Okay, hold
Yeah.
on.
Another one.
Another major key. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Oh.
Oh.
It's one half of the dynamic duo. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
For listeners who don't know, this is my brother Philip calling in. So Philip, what's your question or comment?
Yeah, no, introduce yourself. You're an
You can
important part of
introduce
this.
yourself.
Yeah.
There's definitely
that's
an
a question.
audience for this movie. People who love films, I think, would like this movie. Like we talked
Yeah.
about before, there's a lot of people who particularly like classic movies from like the 40s to the 60s.
Definitely. Because those are the
Um,
parts that we like the most.
And I think people who have a taste for drier humor
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
would definitely enjoy this movie.
You know what I realized when we were in the theater in there was a group of maybe like, no offense to anybody listening, there was some like 60-plus-year-olds in there,
Yes.
and they were cracking up. They were
Yeah.
having a good old time. So that's for your answer, Phil. Probably, somebody's grandma and somebody's film student
And
might love this.
I think you're right about somebody who appreciates older film. There was an older gentleman sitting directly behind me, and the entire movie he's like, this is from this old movie, and this is
Mhm.
this is inspired by 1938's John Huston
Yeah.
directorial debut, like that type of thing. So it's definitely for the people who
He was going to go into, when I was a young boy, we
Yeah.
didn't have...
didn't have these talkies.
All right, well. Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you for
Thank
calling
you.
in, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Alrighty.
But yeah, I think that the Coen Brothers movies and movies in general, particularly this one, is made for the spotters, like the people that like to be like, oh, I know what they did there, I know what trick was up their sleeve, like that kind of thing. People love that. So yeah, there's definitely an audience for the movie.
Definitely. I mean, I guess I want to say as a film student, I go in there and I like to I judge these movies and I study them instead of I don't really go in and to watch a movie. I'm more to study it and see what it looks like. But it just didn't appeal to us.
Yeah, I would say like I thought I was. I think definitely like older people because they they grew up with these movies to a greater extent than we did. But I kind of felt like I was the demographic. Like I am an old movie nut. And, like, I'm all about, like, the weird little things.
So you're a great example, then, to somebody who appealed to, because you gave it that 7.
Yeah, I thought it was my demographic. And, I mean, I think it was directed at someone like me. And even then, I felt like I was more generous than both of you. But even I felt, at the end of the day, it was kind of wet the bed.
Yeah, but it did not do well in the box office. I think it was muscled out by Kung Fu Panda 3, which isn't necessarily in direct competition with the Coen Brothers movie, but I think it certainly helped its poor rate.
I don't know. When are we gonna
attendance?
Yeah, I don't know if there's that much crossover.
We gotta find a film that we're gonna give a good rating.
Yeah, like we're only on episode 2.
That's true. That's true.
I can't wait. I'm gonna give a good rating. I don't want to bash anything anymore. I feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we should keep it open for another caller, just in case
Sure.
there's more people around.
Let's do it.
Call in, people.
I was about to say we're an international show, but Puerto Rico is technically... it's a territory? What is it?
The Commonwealth.
Commonwealth.
United States. I guess if you're a Puerto Rican, it's sorry, it's an actual... You want it to be a state? You hope it's a state. Call. Please call. Ask us questions.
Again.
Connect Scott, what do you eat for breakfast? Anything.
Yeah, and I will answer you truthfully. Half a bagel, omelet, tomato, onion, spinach, feta cheese, cup of coffee, boom.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked a lot about Hail Caesar. I think we got most of our feelings down.
I'm sick of Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
Absolutely sick of it.
I have lived and breathed Hail Caesar the past 2 days. I was up till midnight last night writing a review on it.
Wow.
I'm kind of done.
It's because of you guys, I'm not going to lie. I've been able to withstand it longer and deal with it longer. But if it was on my own, like everyone I talk to alone, I tell them, don't watch it. I didn't like it. Don't watch it. No.
Yeah, I don't know if I tell people not to see it, because I think overall, I think it's an enjoyable movie, and I don't think it's something people should avoid seeing.
Definitely.
Especially considering there's not necessarily that much else out in the theaters right now.
No.
So if you want to go see a movie...
Star Wars is still playing.
Yeah, I think everyone who wants to see Star Wars has seen Star Wars
that's
for the
true.
most part.
But I feel like a lot of them are repeat viewers. Like, I feel like if...
Well, yeah.
If you're a person who went to the theater to see Star Wars, you're probably also a person who went to see it multiple times. Maybe you were in costume.
But Kung Fu Panda 3, if that's what you're into.
Stone Cold Classic right there. Well, you know what I think we're going to do? We'll throw out the phone number, and then we're going to do another intermission.
Let's do my favorite.
Yeah, so Gian's pick for the week is, hold on a second, we're working a Mac here, and I am unfamiliar with
So if write it down, 201-825-1234 is the phone number here, WRPR. Call in after the break, and we will take your questions. Any question, ask us something.
Alrighty, so it's Show Me Love by Kimberly Ann here on WRPR. And we're back.
Oh! Alright, I'm going to tell a joke really quick. I want to tell this joke.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't PAs die in an earthquake? If you don't know what a PA is a production assistant. So why don't PAs die in an earthquake? Anybody?
Why?
No.
Why don't they die in an earthquake? Because they're always standing in doorways.
It's not... Okay.
Yeah, they're always standing in doorways.
Shit.
All right, Scott.
I tried to cue up your cricket noise. Still getting the hang of this.
I'll be here
all night.
For another 10 minutes.
Either we've exhausted our supply of callers, or I'm not sure.
Let's throw one more out there.
Yeah.
Call in.
A question about film in general or movies they've seen, anything like that.
Well, yeah,
201 825 1234.
Yeah, we're in the final the home stretch here. We got 10 more minutes.
Final 10 minutes. So what are we thinking about? What are some films out there for next week? You think?
I think
up in the air
that are coming out, or simply ones that we may.
We got a caller.
Oh, we have a caller.
The final caller.
There we go.
Alrighty. Hello, caller. You are on the air.
All right. That's my mom. Burn After. Yes, we have. Okay.
It's been some time.
Good question.
Full disclosure, this is my mom, Brenda.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Brenda.
Yeah. She's calling in. Thank you, Mom.
Wow.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I can't comment.
It's coming back to me.
What was his name again?
Oswald Cox. I'm pulling up the synopsis here on IMDb. Yes, I believe he's fired, and I believe he doesn't. He goes kind of wacky. Like I think he ends up hacking a couple people apart with a hatchet. I feel like he kills a lot of people. Yeah, I remember his character. Again, I bet you it's been. I bet you it's probably close to like 5 years since I've seen it. It's been some time, but I remember like he starts out this very sympathetic character, but I know it gets dark pretty damn quick. And this is a movie like I would if I remember correctly, I would definitely recommend it to people. It I know Brian here is like myself is a big fan of dark humor.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie though.
That's my favorite though. When Brad Pitt starts dancing.
Oh, on the treadmill, chewing his gum.
Dancing on the treadmill. That's
it's beautiful. Tilda Swinton is in it. I don't know, Gian. You might want to take a step back from this.
My true love.
How do you feel about Tilda
Ghost
Swinton,
lady.
Mom? Her androgynous vibe is kind of freaking Gian out.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to wake up next to her in the morning.
Okay. We might have to revisit this movie.
Nice.
In,
Burn After
in the
Reading.
future.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. Better definitely.
Alrighty.
Thanks
for
for calling
in. Okay. Bye-bye. Alrighty, so yes, that was my mom. Mom, I'm gonna let you know I will call you tomorrow. I've been lax in my phone calls home.
Oh, you don't call your mother?
I got a passive aggressive text the other night. Says your new co-host Gian sounds like such a nice guy. Like I'm sure he calls his mother.
What does it mean that only family members call in to our show?
Hey,
Family members.
we're up and running, man.
Well, I don't know. They feel that it's your brother, but
yeah,
he didn't have to call in.
Yeah, I don't know if brothers count.
You know how brothers count?
I don't know.
Because brothers could totally be like, I don't listen to his show.
Yeah.
But.
Burn After Reading. Movies we might talk about in the future. I know. Gian and I are gonna go see Deadpool. This weekend.
And Janine as well. Janine, our camera lady here in the studio.
Our wonderful camera lady, Janine.
Camera lady. Not only,
camera woman, camera lady.
Not are there only cameramen, now there are camera women, camera ladies.
Of course.
Yes.
And big thanks to Janine for taping the show, of
Definitely.
course.
Big thanks.
Yeah.
Big thanks. I can't speak properly.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks to Janine.
Brian, do you have any thoughts on this Deadpool movie? People I know, they either think it looks what they think it looks like. I can't say over the radio, but they either think it looks horrible or it looks like it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Do you have an opinion on Deadpool?
Well, I strongly believe that the makers of Deadpool are self-aware of the quality of the movie and have intentionally made the movie this way on purpose. So
Is
it's
that
gonna be
roundabout?
corny.
Yeah.
It's gonna be over the top, but that's exactly what they want. Sticking true to the comic of Deadpool, I think that's the kind of style they needed to go for to make this movie work.
Yeah.
From
So,
the
that's my
trailers, it looks. I just really hope that whole corniness doesn't get annoying, doesn't get overplayed, because it definitely could get overplayed really fast. But I'm really excited. I love Marvel movies.
I know I am definitely the minority in saying this. Is like everybody I know is everybody's on the Marvel train.
Oh, I'm not.
And we have Brian,
Brian,
a kindred
Marvel man.
spirit.
I don't necessarily believe
Yeah.
in a superhero movie factory that
I-
Hollywood's pumping.
I-
But,
Oh my God.
Like Gian, like
I'm hurt.
yeah, Brian and I, like if he comes on for Deadpool, like we might go after you.
I think that Deadpool, where the other movies kind of fell into the corniness, Deadpool's going to be embracing it. So so in that way it might be better.
But it's also like the first rated R Marvel movie I've seen in a while, and I think it's gonna be great with all the violence and.
I'm looking forward to the to the R rating. I feel my heart rate accelerating. Like I can get in. I can get into the Marvel debate, and
Because R rating opens up so many doors. It's not just about that it's an R rating. You can they can curse, they can do this, they can do that.
Yeah.
It's all about the fact that it opens up so much more for the story.
yeah, and I guess the Marvel movies that I've seen, and here's where I put my cranky old man hat on, is I just loathe, I abhor the artificial, family-friendly, squeaky clean polish that goes onto every movie.
Which ones? The superhero movies?
All of the Marvel superhero movies.
What? Oh man.
The original Iron Man, like Tony,
Scott, I'm about to fight you.
They're very formulaic movies.
Who's the Iron Man dude?
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
I was gonna say,
Jr.
yeah, Robert Downey. Like I love like that.
Yeah.
Like he's the swinging dick in a superhero outfit. Like I kind of dig into that, but don't get me started on the
Those
Avengers.
Are the best. Oh, Avengers, awesome. Iron Man, awesome.
Oh no.
Yes.
But
Captain
Deadpool-
America, all of them.
When it comes to Deadpool, my major issue just going in is Ryan Reynolds, who I don't necessarily like as an actor. I don't think he's very
Really seen him
talented.
much.
And also the fact that he's doubling up in the Marvel Universe, which is a little strange.
When did he?
Who else is
I think he's doubled up. Maybe not in Marvel, but he was Green Lantern
Green
in
Lantern was
DC.
DC.
You're playing the top build superhero.
You know
in a
what?
Movie.
He actually
It's a little
tripled up.
strange.
He was in an X-Men movie.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
produced by Fox, also playing Deadpool, but under a different production company.
Exactly.
And,
it wasn't the
yeah.
Deadpool that we're gonna see in this upcoming movie.
But Marvel's done it before. Chris Evans did it. He
Yeah.
was Human Torch and then Captain America. So it's happened.
That was a little
It just
weird.
happened.
What does the name Deadpool come from? For people who need some context, this obviously is it's a superhero
Right.
cartoon character. Does anybody know like where his name comes from?
I
Like,
do
what,
not.
What is with
I
that?
do not.
I don't know either. I mean, you could bring up different things like this character, he basically he's about to die. He has like cancer or something, and these scientists are able to bring him back to life. So I'm gonna say something has to do something with that.
Maybe he gets dipped in some kind of body of water and is returned in some
Something like that.
fashion.
Sounds
Trailer
about right.
sounds
Yeah.
like a little like that. But we're here running on a minute now.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up real quick. I can't resist, but one last parting shot. I think the one thing that the one like warning signal from the Deadpool trailers is, I think Deadpool, from what I've seen of the trailers and what I know of the fans, like I think if thank God not many people are listening to this, because I think I might get hunted down, is like Deadpool has like this very cloying, annoying habit of combining like traditional like crass humor, which I love, but combining it with this annoying, cloying, like ultra nerd humor where like you have to know like the exact like reference point for it, that I just don't.
It could be. It's definitely gonna appeal more to Marvel
Yeah,
fans.
like.
I think if you're not a super Marvel fan, there are gonna be things that are gonna totally miss.
But who knows? Like I'm a fan of trashy exploitative movies. So and that's kind of looks like what this movie is. So
shaping up.
Okay, we're at the 9:30 mark. Let's wrap up with some shout outs. Gian. Gian's a big fan of the shout outs.
Shout out.
Well, I got yelled at for not shouting out to certain people.
So Scott, you shout out.
Okay.
Shout out your mom, Scott.
I'm gonna shout out to 2 moms tonight. I'm
Tell
gonna
me your mom later, Scott.
I'm gonna-
What's wrong with you?
I'm gonna shoot out to my shout out to my biological mom,
Can't
Brenda.
say that, man.
for
We're in
calling in.
college.
And I'm gonna shout out to my adoptive mom, Laura, who I think is listening in. Who else should I shout out to?
Don't overthink it.
I'm overthinking it, man.
Don't overthink
You know, I'm out of steam here.
Shout out to everyone
Somebody
listening.
save me.
Thank you for
Yes.
listening. Thank you to our callers. And shout out to Brian here that came in to be our guest this week.
Shout out to Rebecca. I'm going to be watching Pride and Prejudice tonight with Matthew McFadden, our boy.
Absolutely. And, of course, big shout out to Janine for being here in studio,
Of course.
videotaping us.
Yes.
We'll be on YouTube by the end of the week.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's been
Thanks for
fun.
coming on, Brian.
Of course.
All right.
And thank you. Tune in next week for another edition of Spoiler Alert.